Family dynamics. Hi folks. Sharon here. I want to stress something that's come up for me around my having pancreatic cancer, and that is my relationships with Earth family. First, let's look at it this way. You're a starseed born into a typical Earthling family. This Earthling family has been feeding demonics for many generations most likely, and your introduction into the family is not going to be appreciated. Many starseeds lament bad relationships with family members. Well, this is why. It's not your family that may dislike your presence there so much, it's their attachments that have issues with you. These people are not fully in control of themselves. The way to disempower these demonics is to take back control of your own mind. There's no other way. They can't mess with you when you're in charge. Why spend your time in fear and anxiety when taking back the power of your own mind will connect you with the love vibration? This demonic truth has only come out to certain segments of the population. There are families who have retained old knowledge of demonics and how to deal with them. There are other families who have no clue that they're being fed off of. Well, with more and more people beginning to see past our dimension, you can expect that this will change. I believe that there are families whose demonics have the run of the show. These people are incapable of fighting that which they don't understand even exists. So this can make relating to family members particularly tricky. Years ago I left Toronto with only the clothes on my back. The man I'd been living with was about to beat me up again, and I'd already figured him for a killer, so I wasn't sticking around. Fortunately, I had a friend a couple blocks away, so I ran to his apartment and stayed there the night. I had called my niece, my sister's daughter, to come and pick me up and take me back to live with her. I had no money and I had no other place I could stay. As the story goes, I ended up having to stay with she and her husband for 7 weeks before I could get my own place to live. My niece took issue with this, but instead of telling me, she triangulated with my sister, who took it upon herself to rescue my niece, the victim, one night by blasting into the house and demanding I leave. And go where? To live on the streets. That was my only recourse at the time. I have since learned, of course, that depending on victims for your survival is a bad idea. I have learned to spot victims and their rescuers and steer clear of them lest I be sucked into their game. Because these two alternate between these two positions on the triangle, anyone they can move into the perpetrator position becomes the next target of their sick game. Suffice it to say, I've had a very guarded relationship with my sister since then. I believe her demonics were in charge of her that night, but that still doesn't mean I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. If you have family members like this, neither should you. My sister's and niece's lack of compassion was blatantly obvious for all to see. They didn't seem to care whether I had to spend the next weeks on a park bench begging for food. It didn't matter to them. Fortunately, I held my ground. I wasn't leaving and I didn't. I didn't care how much they resented my being there. I was staying until I could make a good move for myself. 3 years later, I moved 8 hours away from them, which is where I live now. Now, with my being sick with cancer, my sister has offered to let me stay with her. I refused. If she presses the issue, I will remind her of what she tried to do to me 10 years ago. You have to learn what's up with people, and although they may sing nice songs of wanting to help you, you have to understand their limits, and one of my sisters is that she's a victim and she has always had issues with me. No thank you. I'll stay where I am. All my doctors are here and I can't even drive 8 hours to her house even if I wanted to. I'd pass out behind the wheel. This is the other thing, if you're sick like this, know your limits. Know when to ask for help. I've found that the healthcare system here in Ontario has been very helpful. I moved away from Niagara so that I wouldn't have to put up with my sister and my niece, so I'm not going to go back there to see what kind of shit they can get up to this time. No thank you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Do not give people the benefit of the doubt if they have done things of this sort to you before. Learn your lesson. Love them anyway, but don't fall prey to their flaws. Maybe you want that kind of loving family, but you don't have it. My sister does not deal well with problems to begin with, but secondly, she's got major issues with me, so I set appropriate limits with her. I told her she was invited here if she wants to come, but how entertaining I can be right now is questionable. Unless you like watching me scratch, then you'd have lots to occupy yourself with, because I've got a nasty case of pruritus. I believe my body is cleansing itself in any way it can, and right now it's going through my skin. When people tell you who they are, listen. Don't let your dashed hopes and dreams of having a loving family lead you down the garden path and back into trouble again. You do have a loving family, they're the Galactics, and they love you even if you don't yet know who they are. They are the ones you need to turn to. Ivo has been leading me through this all, telling me what the doctors are going to say before they say it. The doctors are amazed that I seem to be so stoic through all of this, but I'm being prepared for my appointments before I even go. I knew they would declare this inoperable because Ivo and Athena are telling me. I'm looking at the difference between the doctor's perception of this sickness and the metaphysical reality of this. Of course they told me that there is no such thing as a cancer that's stronger than the human mind. The human mind is far stronger than any disease. Ivo, it is, my love. It is the most powerful thing, a part of God. The mind can create cancer and it can stop it as well. All responds to love, even cancer. Spending your day working at healing yourself through your own higher mind is a good way to help yourself. Me, I want to see the look on the doctors' faces when this thing starts shrinking and disappears for good. I'm going to enjoy it. I figure I'm a cat, I have 9 lives, and yes, my soul is a feline. Ivo, how do you feel about having this right now? Me, I feel ripped off because I was right in the middle of doing a lot of good work and it was a pleasure to be doing this work. Digging into exopolitics and then learning how to create my reality and to pass that information on to others I really enjoyed doing. I'm only 61 and I wish this had happened in 10 years because then I might be ready to go, but I still want to help people. Ivo, then do you not think that that will prevail? Me, it better, because as soon as I can, I'm going back on the videos. I got a couple done for October but I'd like to increase them. What's going on now is so fascinating and I don't want to stop doing it yet. There are also books I want to publish. I promised the Mercurians a book and it's now proofread, so all I have to do is make changes and then publish it. I was doing so many vital things. I'm not ready to stop. Ivo, then you will not. However, I still want you with me. You can continue your work this way. Me, that works. Ivo, continue to see how you create parking spots for yourself, or people who need the loonies, toonies, and quarters that you have to exchange with them. Focus on all you have created and create a timeline for yourself of health. You have a strong mind and we are here to help you. Me, thanks Ivo. Ivo, indeed. You are most welcome, my love. You can beat the odds at anything you desire. Simply stop listening to limited minds.